Hey there, in today's video I'm going to show you how I scan some images, how I clean them up in Silhouette and get them ready to print on my Sublimation printer. So for now I've got 3 images that I'm working with. I'm going to scan it onto 8 by 10 scan. And I'm going to save each one into its own file. Okay, so I have my first 3 images, so I'm gonna just focus on one. And you probably can't see it on the screen, but there's a line here, which is the edge of the little card, index card that was that this was created on. I'm gonna try to get as close as I can to the actual artwork. And I'm gonna save it. Okay, I just saved that one. Now I'm gonna go back to my scan by clicking on here. If I click go back completely, it'll take me back to the whole scan. So I'm going to save my second image. I use the HP Inkjet printer 4650. So far these don't look like they need to be cleaned up, but I still need to save them to a PNG file. So for now I'm doing my scan, and then I'll check for any little ink marks or what have you around the image. And then I also changed the color of the cheeks for my sublimation process. So I'm going to save this one. Okay, I saved my second image. I'm going to save my third one now. This one is going to be a good one to play with, because where the sun ends is there's a line there that I'm going to have to clean up. So let me flip this around. I'm going to go ahead and save this one. Okay, so I'm done saving my 3 images. So all I do is just get out of this. I don't save it because I've already saved it to my file. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Silhouette Studio. Okay, I'm in my Silhouette Studio, which is my Cameo 3 program. I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to merge those 3 images so I can clean them up. And there's one. I'm going to grab the other one. And there's 2. I forgot to remove it to the side. And then my third one, same thing, file merge. Okay, so here you'll see I need to clean that up. So what I do with these files, and I can do them at the same time. Sublimation, there is no white, but I still do this process to make sure that I don't need to modify or enhance anything. So these all look pretty good except for the sunshine one. This one I need to take off that the border. You probably can't see it, but anyway, this is what I do in Silhouette, just to remove the white background, and then I just save it with the cleaner white background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my right panel. I have the business edition. So you're going to go down to this, what looks like a slice of bread to me. It's called open the trace panel. So I'm going to click on select trace area. Then I'm going to highlight all of this. And I don't have, excuse me, I don't have any of, I don't have like the high, excuse me, I have the high pass, I have that off. Scale doesn't really matter, I have it on 10. The threshold, I always put that on around 90 something. I mean, anything 90 plus. Let's just say 93. It highlights everything that I need to cut out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Trace and Detach. And all I need to do is just clean this right here. And I'm going to save them to PNG files so that I can put that in. So I'm able to pull that file into my my Virtuoso Creative Studio program. So what I'm going to do is click right outside of this image, and it removed that off-white background, so I'm just going to delete it. And I have to, it's going to be in pieces, so I don't want to remove, I want to keep this exactly where it was, the young lady's signature. So I'm just going to grab the whole thing and move it to the side. And you'll see how it removed a lot of the white, which is no biggie because, again, in sublimation there is no white. And I'm going to resave this image anyway. So all I'm doing here is just going to grab the eraser. And I'm going to remove this. And one thing I do need to pay attention to, I'm going to zoom in on it, is this area here. I'm just going to erase that. And I want that to show up on the mug. So I'm just cleaning it up. I'm not worried about the white again. There is no white in sublimation. Okay, so I'm done with that. So I'm just going to click on escape to get rid of my little tool. And then I'm going to click on the circle now. I want to cover the cheeks with my own circle so that I can make the cheeks brighter. I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to click escape again. So now here, I'm going to go to my palette to the right. I'm just going to click on that second pink. So I'm just going to make this a little bigger, stretch this out just a little bit. Go to the next cheek and make that pink. I'm going to enlarge that too. I just need to cover, I'm just going over her actual cheek colors. Okay, so now that looks good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to group it. I'm going to leave that one aside for now. So we go to the next one and repeat the same process. Okay, I went ahead and saved my 3 images as PNG files with this little white background. And the reason I did it to fit perfectly into the image is because when I put them side by side, I don't want the white to overlap my images. So instead of her being on top, the white will be on top of her. So this way I have more room to gang print on one sublimation sheet. So let me show you what I'm talking about really quick. My sheets are like let's just say 9.5 inches wide. And I say this is already set at the height. Will be 4 inches. Let's just say 4 by 9. So I'm gonna want all of my images to line up perfectly as close as possible, just so I can see how many I can get on one sheet. So normally you use 1 sheet per mug, but because these are one-sided mugs, sorry, you can try to get as many as you can on one sheet. And I just cut them with scissors, and I'll show you that process too. I do need 2 of these anyway. So I'm just gonna duplicate that. So you can fit about 4 on 1 sheet. Just cut it with scissors, use tape, and I'll show you that process. So I already saved my files as PNG. You have to have the business edition. You can't save PNG files on basic edition. And that's the only reason I upgraded to the business edition. So let me go ahead and just, I'm not going to save these. So I'm just going to close out of it and not save it since I already saved it. Okay, so now what I'm getting ready to do is, I'm in my Creative Studio, Sawgrass Creative Studio, and I'm going to bring in my images. So I have to upload it. Excuse me, I have to upload it to Sawgrass. So I'm going to name it really quick. Okay, I'm going to click that I have the rights to print this image, and I have to choose my file now. So I'm just going to go grab it from where I saved it. And then I have to look for it. There's the first one, upload. Okay, now I have to go find it. I'm going to click on it. And this is a file I saved. So I'm just going to minimize it. Fit it to my cup sheet. And these little white lines down here at the bottom, the little foggy looking lines, those are called bleed lines. You have to stay out of that area. And so I just kind of fit it in there. I maximize the space, of course. Okay, and I'm going to grab the other one. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing. Fit it on my sheet. And I'll show you what I was talking about on saving your images with too much white. See how it overlaps? So when I save them, I try to get as minimal of white as possible on the sides. The height doesn't really matter because you're going to change that anyway. Trying to avoid the bleed lines, the bleed area. I am going to have to do 2 of these, so I'm just going to duplicate it. You have to come up, highlight, and come up to object, duplicate. I am going to have to use another sheet because these 3 require wording on the opposite side of the mug. I have one more, so I'm going to bring that in. I'll show again how I upload. So upload, I name my file. And this company is Lola Loves, so I just name it Lola, and then whatever the image name is. I'm just putting Lola Black Dress. I'm clicking that I have the rights, and I'm going to choose my file. I'm going to upload it. Now I'm going to look for it. And these are in alphabetical order. I mean, file order, but they're all Lola. So, just going to scroll. Bring her in. Minimize it. Okay, so I can fit 4 here for now. I'm going to use another sheet because I need to put wording on the opposite side of the mugs on these 3 mugs. This one's going to have "You Are My Sunshine, My Only Sunshine." And then for these 2, the couple's names and their, I guess, wedding date. And this one's just going to be she's going to be on the mug on her, just on one side. So you can see that you can fit when you're doing one-side images, or even if it's not one side, and if you want to have, like, if you're printing 3 or 4 mugs, or even 5, this is what you call gang printing. Or let's see, I'm gonna see if I can fit. Just depends on how wide your images are. Let me give you a better idea on what I'm talking about. Actually, let's say, let's do these. I think you have the idea, but I just want to show you anyway. So you don't want to cut into her. See, she's on, this one's on the top. So I would grab these two and I would duplicate it. And you can probably fit just one more. So if you're doing like a wedding or a sweet 16 or quinceañera or whatever, you can make 5 mugs, print 5 mugs on just one sheet of mug paper. So now I'm going to print this on my mug paper, and I have a trick. You can, I don't recommend it, but it works for me. There's times where I've only had 3 images or just 2 or what have you, or even 1. You can reuse. You can stick this paper sheet back in there and it'll still print as long as you don't go over the available space. I've literally stuck this piece right here, just this small piece, in my printer for one print, and it's worked. I don't recommend it for anyone because I don't want to be held responsible for telling you that. But right now I'm working with the sheet that's probably that'll fit these 4. I don't have the whole sheet, but I have a sheet big enough to print these 4, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I just stuck it in my printer, but this is the regular size, which is the sheet sizes that I use are, I know it's dark in here, I like working in the dark. These are 4 inches, I'm sorry, these are 9.5 inches long by 4 inches tall, which is this sheet. Okay, this was left over from a big sheet, so I cut it to the size of the mug paper so I could reuse it. So I'm going to stick this shorter side in there, and you'll see how much is left over, which I probably won't be able to use anything after this, but this is what I'm going to stick in there. Okay, I'm fixing to print it. And I have to specify what I'm printing on. And currently I have it set on ceramic /glass. The paper that I use is Text Print R. And I just have it on Select Auto Tray, and it's automatically, I have it set on mirror automatically, which is what you want when you're doing sublimation. So I'm going to print it. I'll show you that I printed on that short sheet. Okay, here's my 9.5 by 4 inch sheet. And this is the sheet, the size that I use is smaller size to get those 4 pieces. And again, this was left over from a, I think either 8.5 or 11 by 17 sheet. I don't remember. I also have 13 by 19. Okay, just to save time and to keep from boring you, I went ahead and did my lettering. I'm going to go ahead and get an approval from the customer really quick. They didn't specify font or color, so I'm just going to offer my opinion and go from there. Okay, the customer is happy with this, so I'm going to go ahead and print this on another sheet of mug paper. Okay, my printer decided to jam for whatever reason. It didn't finish printing on the edge here, and it cut off. I needed to print 2 of them. So, perfect example on how I reuse my scrap pieces. I can only fit 1 on here, but I'm going to show you that it works. I'm going to feed this in, and the machine is going to think that I fit in a whole sheet, so it's going to pick it up and start printing. So I'll show you that right now. I'm going to reprint it. So I'm going to print just this one on that one little sheet, this little piece here on the printer. Again, I don't recommend anyone do this, because if you have problems with your printer, it's not my fault. I didn't make you do it. I'm just showing you my process. So I'm going to stick it in there, way in there. Slide it way in there. This little thing doesn't go all the way in there. So either way, I'm just going to slide it in very carefully. This is my SG800. Okay, let's see if it worked this time. And it's perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to go turn on my mug press. Okay, my setting for these mugs are 400 degrees, 240 seconds. And I'm going to show you how I put those little pieces on my mug. Okay, so what you want to do is, of course, wipe down your mugs just to get any debris or any little pieces of lint or what have you on there. Okay. Okay, so the first one I'm going to do is You Are My Sunshine. They like their images right-handed, so the image is going to be here. The wording I'm going to put on this side. So I'm getting some heat tape. So now I'm going to put the image, You Are My Sunshine, goes with this. Just tape the edges. Just get a piece long enough to hold it in place. Same thing. Mark it off. I just line it up that way. Keep my finger there. And that's how I center my cups. Go down. Dadgummit. Sorry. They say it's good to mess up while you're recording. I guess so. So I'm going to put it right there. And I turned off my mug press, so give me a second. Just a quick tip. Don't ever use a Teflon sheet for when you're working with sublimation. What I use for my mugs or anything sublimation related, I use parchment paper. What I'm going to do is cut this one in half, elongated, and that's what I'm going to use to protect the mug from the, or protect the, my press, the inside, from getting stained or picking up the ink for the sublimation ink. So, another tip for using parchment paper. I used to cut my paper this way so I can get 4 pieces for printing on my mugs. But the best thing to do is just get half of a, you can rip it by hand this way, but you won't always get an even piece. Use a ruler. Cut it in half, which is much faster. Or if you prefer an X-Acto knife or scissors, whichever. This is the quick way to cut your sheets in half. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just wrap my parchment paper around the mug. You can also use plain copy paper. Okay, sorry for the beeping. So here what you're going to do is, I've broken a few handles because I have it too close to here. You don't want to do that. So just kind of keep it in the middle. Apply firm pressure and just let that sucker cook. What you want to look for on your parchment paper is browning, where the paper's turning colors like if it's going to burn. That's when that's the perfect time to take your mug off of the press. One of my plugs is on the incorrect wattage. If that makes any sense. I'm not an electrician, but I have had to press it a couple of times, and I wait until I see the browning or the burning or scorching marks on the edges here. Okay, this is the plug that I'm having issues with. So you see it's saying it's ready, but I know it's not, and I'm not gonna waste my mug to show you that it's not ready. I know that it's not ready because there's no scorch mark. So just to shut this off. Actually, hold on, sorry. If you look at this side, I had it too close to the edge on the other side, sorry. You see that? This is ready. And it's hot, be careful. So there's You Are My Sunshine, My Only Sunshine. And there you go. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, please give me a like. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please do so. Until next time.